Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Insurance with the Janet Smart Agency. I'm your host today, Janet Smart with Farmers Insurance. Today I have a special guest, Clayton O'Neal from Precise Heat and Air in Batesville. Welcome.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good.
Good.
So, Clayton, how long have you been in the heat and air business?
Oh gosh, it's funny. We actually had this conversation this morning. I'm going on 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
Started when I was 17.
Oh, you were just a child.
I was a baby.
So you just live the heat and air business.
It lives me. And I don't know if I live it anymore.
Well, that's awesome. So today I was hoping to talk about carbon monoxide exposure and exposures in the home.
Sure.
And so I'm a little bit curious. We've seen different things on the news. I've had someone close to me that's had their carbon monoxide detector go off, and they actually ended up having to be treated at the hospital. So I'm glad that they had it.
Sure.
But if they didn't have it, it would be a different story. So number one, I think the carbon monoxide detectors are awesome. And I was doing this and I realized I didn't even have one in my office here right now. So now I do.
You do now.
I do now. But I was just like, I don't have one, and I have a gas heater. So I needed, because you furnace.
I put this in many years ago. Yes.
And I was like, I don't have a carbon monoxide detector. So you could have just saved the whole office from possibly falling asleep at work because of carbon monoxide.
Because of the carbon monoxide.
Not because it's so fun and sleepy around here on a regular basis. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what causes carbon monoxide exposure.
Sure. So essentially, any appliance that's in the home that burns a fuel, whether it is natural gas or propane, even wood, believe it or not. Up north, if you're using kerosene or fuel oil or even coal. So any appliance in the home that burns a fuel is susceptible to the ability of producing carbon monoxide. So your stove, your hot water tank, the gas furnace you mentioned in the building here, any of those that consume a fuel to produce heat can cause that. And so essentially what it boils down to is incomplete combustion. So that flame not having enough oxygen to the flame is what's going to cause that incomplete combustion, and in turn cause the carbon monoxide in the home. And the scariest part about carbon monoxide is you can't smell it, you can't taste it, clearly you can't see it. And so that's why it's always been labeled the silent killer.
Gotcha.
Right? There's no way to produce a smell like we have natural gas, right? They add that sulfur smell to the gas. So that when you have a gas leak, you know what's going on. Same thing with LP gas. Obviously, there's no way to mimic or produce that scent into carbon monoxide. And so, it gets touted as a silent killer because there's no way to detect it without a sure enough carbon monoxide detector.
So I'm going to dumb it down. So when you said any appliance that uses a type of fuel, does that mean anything that has a pilot light?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. That's a good way to put it. Anything that has a pilot light would be fine.
Okay. So then I definitely can pay attention to that. And like, if I have a pilot light, I have a risk.
Yes.
And so,
there you go.
Good. Okay. So do you still need to worry if you don't have an appliance that has a pilot light in your home?
I'm going to answer that yes and no.
Okay, good.
So in the home itself, with no appliance that burns fuel, or in your case has a standing pilot, the risk for carbon monoxide is very, very small. Now, one thing that I would point out that a lot of just the general public doesn't think about is generators.
Oh, outside.
Okay. So your power goes out. The first thing we do, we drag that portable generator around and we put it to the closest thing we can, right? And get that. Most people got it. It's terrible. They run the extension cord into their home and start plugging your refrigerator and stuff like that in. Okay. So what's the easiest way to get into the home with an extension cord?
The door.
The door or the window.
Okay.
Okay. Most of them are going to drag it around back, raise the window up.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we fire the generator up. Well, what's the odds of the draft bringing that carbon monoxide into the home at this point?
Okay.
Right? Something else that a lot of people don't think about is their garage. Okay, so it's cold. What do we do? I know my wife does this every stinking morning and burns a lot of gas. It's cold. She goes and starts her car up. right? A lot of people don't think, well, I need to open that garage door and let that exhaust vent out. So to answer your question, I think it's a yes and no. We got to kind of think about that. You know, what is the context of it? So inside the home, no. Outside the home, yes. Obviously, I kind of touched that a little bit further. Obviously, not necessarily carbon monoxide, but we want to think about smoke detectors in the home too.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you can buy a smoke detector with a carbon monoxide detector built into it.
I have that.
So that's something, you know, so to answer your question, yes and no, there's some extenuating circumstances there.
Difficult times remind me to take stock of what's most important. That's why I'm here for you and your family to discuss your insurance options and help you select coverage. With over 14 years of experience as a farmer's agent, I take pride in being able to help you protect the things that matter most. Call me, Janet Smart, at 870-793-5757 to learn more.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Okay, that is awesome. So without my smoke detector, which also is a carbon monoxide detector, my family wouldn't know when supper's ready. So,
Okay.
but that's okay because hopefully everyone else doesn't rely on that method to figure out when it's time to eat.
Yep.
So when should you call someone to evaluate if you have a problem with your gas stove, fireplace, wall heater? And I told you I have a wall heater and the pilot light keeps going out. So when should we call someone to evaluate that?
I think the best answer is to call before you have one. And so what I mean by that is having it checked out, all of your appliances on a yearly basis. Just because you have that carbon monoxide detector in your home, that's only in one spot normally of your home, right?
Yeah.
If you have what you got to think about, if your gas furnace is in the attic and you have the wall heater over here, but then the hot water tank is in the laundry room, it might not quite make it to that portion of the house where your detector's at.
Gotcha.
In our company does this a lot. We do what we call them heat checks.
Okay.
Not only are we making sure the things, the appliance is working properly, but we're also waving a carbon monoxide detector at the source, making sure that it's safe to be inside the home. So the first step is obviously let's take some preemptive measures before something actually happens. When it's time to call a professional, I think that's going to be more symptomatic of the person, right? So I was doing some research from the Mayo Clinic today online. Some things you need to keep in mind of is frequent headaches, nausea, dizziness, excessive sleepiness in the home, right? And you'll, in this trade, as you talk to people who experience these things, they're fine all day at work, right? And then they come home, they suddenly get a headache. Or they have these persistent headaches over the weekends, and as we're questioning the customer, we almost already know what's going on inside their house. They've got a cracked heat exchanger at the gas furnace, putting that carbon monoxide into their home.
Wow.
And so those are the things from a personal standpoint. Dizziness, headaches, nausea are absolutely the first characteristics, first surefire warning signs
Very good.
that you need to call a professional.
Well, awesome. Well, I know I'm going to have to schedule that just to take a look at my gas fireplace and everything else, including my little wall stove that the pilot keeps going out.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yep.
I'm on that. I'm going to call you. Now, Clayton, how can our listeners get in touch with you or any of your team?
A couple of different ways. Obviously, we have a Facebook page, Precise Heating and Air. You can check us out on the web at, it's been changed now. It's precisearkansas.com. Or you can call us by phone at 870-698-1734.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen today.
Sure.
Thank you, Clayton, for coming in and giving me all of this very important information.
Of course.
I hope it helps someone.
Me too.
And I hope we've learned something new about carbon monoxide and the hazards of our appliances. If you have any insurance needs, please contact us at the Janet Smart Agency, 870-793-5757. Janet Smart Agency, the smart choice for insurance.